Rupa, thank you so much for spending a very hot Tuesday lunchtime with us.
Of course.
I would love if you could share with the audience what you do in relation to AI, and what that actually means tangibly that you do day to day.
So I work as a lead product manager with Parker Hannifin. It's a manufacturing company, a 106-year-old company, and I work with their IoT and smart and connected systems division. So the part of AI right now, which is a big part of my job. Currently, I'm leading the business process change management to bring in generative AI in the Parker and in the entire manufacturing industry. We are dealing with third-party vendors, and we have other customers from automobile and automation sector. So I'm leading all of this generative AI adoption, process change management in the manufacturing industry. So that is the biggest part of my job. In terms of AI, apart from that, I have recently developed a chatbot for my division. So Parker has like different divisions in the company itself. So I developed this chatbot just in 6 months, and just to show them the capabilities of AI and how we can integrate all of our existing traditional kind of documentation or maybe methods that we are following or processes that we are following into AI. And with the help of that, we can save a lot of manual work, and we can do all sorts of integrations with the latest technologies.
Okay, well, I think we just need to clone you a million times, because I think all of the organizations that are traditional organizations that need to add in AI to drive efficiencies and so on. I've got a manufacturing CPG background as well. So if you don't mind me also just asking how you've found that journey of bringing an organization that's been so established on the journey.
Actually, that I would say that's the most challenging part. If the organization is established and they have a certain type of mentality that you have to deal with, they cannot trust the technological advancements as much as the tech people in the industry. Actually, adopting AI for youngsters is much more easier than adopting it for the older generations. With Parker, that is the most challenging part, I would say, that I'm facing. And changing that mentality takes a lot of efforts than anything else. So the technology itself is not very big portion of this process change, but the mentality shift is definitely. Being a mechanical engineer, always like I always developed a thick-skinned attitude, and I was always working with a lot of male population, male-dominating industries, and that was something that gave me that strength to kind of lead this business process change management. And that was something that actually motivated me to collaborate these two technologies, because I have been working with previous companies where I worked with the younger crowd. Now I'm working with people who have been with Parker for more than 30 years, 35 years. I'm the youngest one there. So everybody's expectation is that I would bring in some new technologies. And that's the reason I was hired. So that's what I'm doing, I guess. And I'm just trying to convince everybody around me that we can trust AI. You don't have to worry about a thing. It's everywhere. It's just ruling the world, and we just have to trust it more than what we're doing right now. And that's an amazing journey so far. There are ups and downs, but yeah, it's cool.
I was going to say, like, I can imagine it's been tough as well. So, in terms of demonstrating evidence that they don't need to fear it, clearly the move to make a chatbot was something that was going to help them use it, get on the tool so they could understand it. Were there any other evidence points that you found have really helped persuade some of the organization?
Definitely. I think building the chatbot, I would like to mention that it was not something that everybody agreed to. I built it going out of the way, putting all those extra hours, and I built it. I showed it to them that how easy all the integrations could be. And now we have eliminated all those hours that we've been spending on customer calls, on customer support calls, because everything that we've documented, everything that we had in our system, the traditional way we were just kind of searching for documents, searching for everything, and then just sending it back to our customers and spending all those hours on customer calls. All of that is avoided now. And that's how they got their interest into knowing more about generative AI. And that's how they wanted me to lead this change throughout the organization, throughout the different divisions that we are working with. So right now, it's a big effort. There is an entire team that I'm working with, and everybody is just kind of getting a grasp of how generative AI works, how the large language model works, and the entire AI integrations. So manufacturing is the oldest industry that we know. So automation was there in terms of like automating the vehicle, automating manufacturing processes. But when it comes to your data, everybody just thinks about the privacy and data leaking and security. So that was the main concern that everybody had. But when I developed a chatbot which was dedicatedly for our organization and no data leaking was there and we had it all secured, they could trust the process. They could see the results. They could see that everything is secured and we don't have to worry about a thing. It's not that even if it's open for our customers, we can still restrict the access and we can still manage all the users or roles or functionalities. And then that's how it became easy. The chatbot came in handy to convince people and to actually show them how the AI platform works.
It's a great example of initiative and
Yeah.
problem solving because your problem was, how do I actually make this come to life rather than just explain it? And there's nothing like actually the real example. So it's a really interesting one for anyone listening to this thinking I'm in a similar situation, is to use your initiative and find ways that you might be able to evidence and demonstrate the power of AI in a way that people go, ah, I get it.
Yeah.
And you talked about being one of the few women in your career, and that probably is a nice way to move on to talking about women thriving in the AI era, because a lot of the people listening to this would not have had that much exposure to technology or AI before. So I was interested in your views of what kind of skills women could maybe focus on to thrive in the AI era. For example, when you and I spoke at the Tech Walk, what really resonated with me was when you talked about behavioral economics and psychology. And I left that thinking, I think this is an important thing to share, that actually the skills that we need in the AI era are probably transferable skills, but applied in a different context. What kind of skills might be transferable based on your experience?
I think, in the AI era, the profound understanding of human behavior, decision making, and processes and how individuals make decisions with technology is so crucial. So I think understanding behavioral economics is very, very crucial for these women and for everybody for that matter. It's like by focusing on skills grounded in behavioral economics, psychology, and neuroscience. These are the three concepts that I study a lot, and these have helped me in my product management career so far very well to understand my users, to understand my products, and make the products more and more engaging and converting them into experiences instead of just building the products. I think these concepts will empower women to enable better product development and relationship building. I would like to talk about each one of those just in brief, so that you would get a high level understanding of how they can implement these concepts in their real life. So if I talk about behavioral economics, it's a study of understanding the decision making, how humans make decisions. So it teaches us that customers don't always make rational decisions. They are influenced by biases, habits, or social concerns, context. So it's like women can focus on understanding cognitive biases and understand how humans react or make their decisions. It could be loss aversion, it could be the endowment effect. The loss aversion is like you are promoting your product by telling them what would you lose instead of promoting it by saying that what would you gain by buying this product. It's not just about product. I consider myself as product whenever I'm going in front of somebody. So I always make people understand that what would you lose if I am not in your life? What would you lose if the product I'm building, you won't buy that? Instead of telling them this is what you will get. So I'm telling you like 4 or 5 different features of my product and telling you, okay, yeah, you're gonna get this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But if I'm making them realize that this is the loss that you will encounter if you don't go for my product, that's something that will make them feel a FOMO, maybe. They will just feel that, okay, fine, I'll have to probably just go for it. I'm just missing out. So that's something that you just put in their mind and change their decision-making process. So this is something you have to understand. Building AI products or just being surrounded by AI is amazing. But at the same time, you have to understand humans are building these products and humans are going to use these products. So you have to understand the psychology behind how they are making decisions, the behavioral economics behind how you can influence their decision making power, and that will just give you an upper hand in comparison to other people who are building products. The skill that you should focus on is learning about decision making patterns. There are a lot of like good books, or maybe you can just study a little bit more about behavioral economics, and you would understand the importance of understanding nudges. So, nudge is something that you are aligning your user actions with product goals. So, you are creating a nudge that just stick in their mind, and that just empowers and tracks their decision making. So that is the study of behavioral economics. Now we go to psychology. So psychology is building empathy with your user and building user-centric designs. So when you're understanding the psychology, it helps you understand the motivations users usually have, how emotionally they are connected with your product, how emotionally they are connected with you. So what is the driving force of your products that is emotionally connecting these people, that's just changing their decision making power. So AI powered products are often viewed as like more technical. There are very rare products which are human centric, but most of the AI products are technical, and people don't relate that to their life. You have like niche market, you don't relate to everybody in your target audience, and that's one of the reasons that a lot of startups fail, because there is no product market fit. People don't understand what is the exact value that we pursue from our customers. The value that we are creating is very different than what value our customers pursue. Their understanding of value is very different. Sometimes money is something that we consider as a value, as a very crucial point for a lot of customers, but it's not. If your target customer is a cream layer, they already have money, then sometimes they appreciate more of other things, like comfort, for example. If it's a piece of clothing, if it's a shoe, then they prefer more comfort, maybe more design, but not the price. They are ready to pay more money if they are more comfortable, they're more stylish. So the value and understanding the value that customer perceives is very important, and that comes through psychology. So you have to understand and build that empathy with your users and build the user-centric designs. By honing emotional intelligence, women can better empathize with customers, ensuring the products aren't just functional but resonate personally and emotionally with them. So for this, I would say the skill that they need to develop, it would be strong interpersonal relationships based on their understanding of psychology. That would, I think, be more into building relationships with your customers and navigating complex organizational environments, maybe the way I am handling it right now with my organization. I have to understand the psychology behind my internal team members, that what exactly they're going through. They're coming from a very different generation. I have to understand that first. I have to make them realize that this is a technological era. You have been working in the industry for 30 years. You have seen very different phases where social media was not at all there, where mobile phones were not there, where internet was just hardly present. You were not using it like for a lot of things. You were doing actual casting and manufacturing and all those mechanical stuff. People coming from that era, you have to understand and align with them, that you are building those relationships by empathizing with them, and then you bridge that gap, and that's how psychology comes into play. And then neuroscience is like the brain science to enhance engagement. So it reveals how our brain processes information. So whatever information we receive and what triggers it creates. So for example, I'll tell you this works a lot in marketing. I use this a lot in marketing. If you're sitting in a train, you look at an advertisement, something, if there is no trigger, no hook in the advertisement, it would not stick in your brain. You wouldn't remember it after 10 minutes. After you get off the train, you wouldn't remember that at all. But if there is something that triggers your brain, a sentence maybe, or just some tweak that makes you remember, now that is just the first part of triggering. Now the second part, you have to make it memorable. So first is just triggering, and second is making it memorable. Now you're getting off of train, you love that advertisement, but you forgot about it because there was no content that made you remember about that later. And to make your customers buy your products, you have to make them remember what you're advertising. So you have to make your marketing such that keeping in mind what are the triggers that customer will usually remember. Go into their memory and stick there. And what is that one trigger that you can create that will make them remember about that product, even they go back home, even after 2 days, and they would just remember that, oh, I had to buy that. I want to try that. That's something that where neuroscience comes in. So it's like some dopamine rewards, maybe. So, for example, there are subscription models that people use. They just give you, okay, if you use it for like 5 minutes, you'll get five reward points. You'll get 10 reward points. Humans are very used to acknowledgements and rewards that they remember it. If they're getting something in return, they remember it. So that is a type of trigger that you're creating. That is a type of trigger that you are just forcing them to use your product by giving them something in return. And till the time they develop the habit of using your product, only then you have to stop it. You have to kind of just degrade it a little bit, and then they get used to it and they develop a habit. So you have to understand a pattern how humans develop a habit of using something. So this is something that comes in handy when you are really understanding your users on a very deep level. I would say not a lot of people focus on this because this takes a lot of time first to understand your users on a very deep level and resonate with them. And people are so busy building their products that they don't resonate much with users. So I think this is something that I would encourage women to understand. The more and more you talk to people, the more and more you understand what they would think or what they would buy or what they wouldn't buy. That was a long talk. I'm sorry.
That was brilliant. I mean, that was a masterclass, Rupa. That was incredible. Not only is it really powerful what you're talking about, it's also really engaging. And when I think about a lot of the women that I know, they're so good at understanding other women and this empathy. And the context that you've put it in is in this context of if you're building technology, which you might not have done before, actually, they're transferable skills that you've already had around thinking about, okay, what is our customer doing today? What's a day in their life of? How do we make their life easier? And when I think it's so memorable, what would you lose if this product didn't exist? So
Yeah.
it's a great call to action. For anyone listening to this, I think it's a good time to press pause and think, where are all the ways that these kind of skills feed in? It
Yeah.
might be that you're working with someone building technology. It might be that you've moved into a more technical role, but those skills are unique that you take. They're really powerful to challenge the people that are maybe actually building it to say, well, let's think about the triggers and the psychology behind all of these nudges. So valuable. Thank you.
I always keep saying that developing product is like dating. You're not just in relationship with your product, but you're building relationships with everybody around it. And that's more important. It's not just, you're not going to spend your life just building that one product, but you're going to build all those relationships around, and those are the ones that going to support you. So it's like the more and the better you understand your customers, the more successful your business is going to be. Why do you think a lot of apps or companies like Google or Instagram or Meta, they are famous because they understand their users. Why people spend hours and hours on Instagram? Because they are just putting those triggers in their minds. You just keep scrolling and you don't even realize. So they're just playing with your mind. They're just tricking your brain to spend hours and hours on Instagram or Facebook or whatever.
So there's a good product manager behind it, but if you also want to maybe cut the habit of people going on social media, I'm pretty sure that there's some of this that you can take into a career, which is, all right, well, how do we help create community and
Yeah.
drive change, like you said, within an organization, having empathy for the people that you're working with at the moment, for example. I'm going to now close out with a bit of a crystal ball question, which actually everybody hates. If I was to ask you about the next 10 years, where do you see yourself as an example, and any kind of advice that simply from your perspective you think we can go in to future-proof our careers in the next 10 years?
In terms of future proofing, I'm a little concerned about AI in a way. It's a chain reaction like uranium. Do you know how uranium, if you start the chain reaction, Uranium is used to create bombs. And then if you start a reaction, you have to break that chain reaction because it keeps expanding. If you don't break that reaction, it can literally, it has a power to destroy the world. Elon Musk once said that AI is far more powerful than you ever think. That's something that concerns me all the time, because even I think we humans, because I understand psychology and all of these human sciences a lot, I feel that we humans are always hungry for achieving more and more. So we never thought about bringing in AI, for example. In future, to control AI would be a challenge, I guess. To stop AI controlling us and being more human again would be a challenge. And that's something that I see in the next 10 years coming up, that people would be more working on limiting or restricting the use of AI. And we also have to think about having AI around us is a boon, definitely. But controlling that to an extent is also something that people need to work on. And that is also another technology. You have to work on how you can restrict the use and where to cut off so that it will be a boon and not a curse. So that's something that I am also working on. And I would encourage people to kind of get into a technology where you are saving or treasuring your human side and not letting AI overpower you as a human, because we are the creators and we are the one who rules, not AI. So there is a movie in Bollywood, so it's called Robot. So the person actually creates a robot, and he wants the robot to be so humanized that it will just literally replace the entire army. But then what happens is that robot is very used to getting commands, that it actually follows everything that people say, and then when you command them to kill you, it actually does.
Mm.
So then some critic says that you should put in some emotions and human behavior in this robot. And he does that. He recreates that robot, put in emotions and feelings, and then that robot falls in love with his own girlfriend. And that's where the destruction starts. That robot has all the capability to destroy everything that this human has created. And then in the end, the human has to destroy the entire robot. That's just the concept. But this is something that is concerning. No, not a lot of people, because we have so much energy to talk about AI and its adoption and everything, that nobody's actually thinking about how much destruction it could actually bring. So this is one part. Another part is, so this is kind of a destructive part, which concerns me, but I would also like to encourage women in terms of learning more and more about AI and how the entire ecosystem works, how it's taking over, how it's making impact in different industries, and what are all the positive sides of it.
Mm.
Like we can replace all of the manual works and laborious work that humans have been doing, and that have been causing some really troublesome, maybe diseases in some humans. For example, mining. Converting mining from human labors to robots was a great innovation, and it was a great transformation. So a lot of humans have already lost their lives in mines. So that was something that was revolutionary. This is a kind of change than cars, automatic cars. Tesla, for example, that's such an amazing AI innovation and revolution that we've all been experiencing so far. These are some kinds of technologies that are being used and are not going to overpower the human intelligence that we have, but we have to treasure that. We have to understand, look at the history, the amount of innovation and amount of technology that we bring in, the more and more we are reducing our human life. People used to live hundreds and 200 years. The more and more technology is coming in, we say that we are bringing in technology to ease out our lives. But on the contrary, we are not actually increasing our lifespan. We are just decreasing it. So we have to think about that as well. It's something that not everybody likes to talk about, or not everybody thinks that, okay, maybe whatever, it's just technology and we are just living in this era. So I think we should start talking about that as well. There was a time when OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, he kind of regretted for a moment that he created OpenAI. Yeah. This
Yeah.
is this is the time when people start realizing that how powerful it is.
Yeah. There's so many things that you've said there that is a really good balanced thing to think about, because knowledge is power. So I think your agitation to say, learn about it and understand its risks, it's really important, but it'll also empower you to shape the future and be aware of risks. But
Yeah.
where we began around the psychology, around neuroscience, around empathy, that's something to say all of those skills you will be needed in the future. And as we kind of transition, can shape things as well. So thank you for all of that information, because I think as well, the transition between now and when we talk about 10 years away is
Yeah.
actually building up skills, playing into a new career, and then
Yeah.
actually you'll have more knowledge to help shape the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
And especially everything that you've talked about has really emphasized human science and human connection.
The reason that I said you can draw a line between how far you have to go, I would just end it with one sentence, that all the AI companies that people are starting these days, I think they have to have a vision which has an endpoint, which has a statement that defines how far I want to go.
Interesting.
And that would just keep them on track in terms of not letting AI overpower human beings. And human sciences play a really big role because you understand humans first, and then you go to AI. You're not actually letting yourself just flow in and getting carried away in the ocean of AI, but you're understanding humans first, and you're aware that where I would go, how far I would go, and how far I want to go. And then you're limiting yourself to something that wouldn't let the external technology affect you so much.
Excellent. And people are power. So the more connected that we
Yes.
are and knowledgeable we are, the better. Well, thank you that we've made a human connection on the screen, but we've also been able to meet and do a walk together. That was incredible. So much in there. So I hope to see you on a stage at some point soon, sharing these insights. Thank you so
Sure.
much for the time and sharing.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.